Hello, good morning. Welcome to Vlogmas Day 21. I am sitting in front of my book collection, my very small library of books right now, because today I am going to finally do my end of year book tag for 2025. I've got a stack of the books that I'm hoping to get to in 2025, but the books that I'm going to talk about, some of them are going to be just appearing beside me on the screen because they are either in storage to make room for all that you see behind me, or they are donated because I DNF'd them and decided to let them go, let them fly high. So let's get right into it. So the first question on the end of year book tag is most disappointing book of the year. For me, that book is Cleopatra and Frankenstein by Coco Mellers. I was really looking forward to reading a Coco Mellers book. I wasn't too keen on Cleopatra and Frankenstein, but I knew that I wanted to read Blue Sisters because I love books about messy family dynamics, which is really weird to say, but I just find that everyone at some point or another has said, oh my gosh, my family's crazy. It's like something we can all collectively relate on. So when I heard that the book had to do with four sisters, four women, I was just like, I really want to read that. But I wanted to go in order of the books that she had published. So I think that was just the first two, which is Cleopatra and Frankenstein and Blue Sisters. So I said to myself, read Cleopatra and Frankenstein first. I did, and I had to DNF it because I just felt so bored with the story and bored with the couple. I know that it's Cleo and Frank, and he is significantly older than her. I think he's got her by about 20 years. And I think it just goes over how they meet, how they get married, and the dynamics of their marriage. And I just wasn't enjoying it, quite frankly. It's tough to say because I know a lot of people completely raved about it, but for me, it just didn't give me what I was looking for. So ultimately, I decided to DNF and move on. The second question, a book that was overhyped. I'm going to get a lot of hate when I say this, but Quicksilver by Callie Hart, in my opinion, was a bit overhyped. Someone said that it was aggressively fine, and that couldn't be a truer statement. Sometimes I go back and forth on whether or not I should reread it because it is a fantasy novel. It's a romantasy book. The second book, Brimstone, came out at the end of last month, I believe. So many people are talking about how good that one is too, but I remember feeling like miserable. And that's not at all how you want to feel when you are reading a book, any book really, but especially not like a romantasy book, because it's going to give you the fantasy element. It's going to give you romance and yearning and love and all that great stuff. But I thought it was exactly how that person put it. I thought it was aggressively fine. And I'm not someone who like pushes through when a book is not giving me what I want it to give. Like, I will DNF. I have no problems DNFing a book. I had no problem DNFing the first two that I'm talking about right now because I just feel like there's so many great books out there to read, and if you're not feeling it, put it down. Now, I am open to rereading it. I am open to trying again. I don't know when I will, if that'll happen in 2026 or not, but yeah, Quicksilver was definitely a book that, as of this moment, I feel was a bit overhyped. Moving on to lighter topics, my favorite book couple, that is the next question, has to be, I think I have the book right here, Ryan Shea and Indy Ivers, The Right Move by Liz Tom Ford. I literally wrote on my review of this book that I have a list of the things I want in a man, and I'm pretty sure Liz Tom Ford saw it and gave us Ryan Shea because he is amazing. This book was so good. If you're not familiar with the Windy City series, it takes place in Chicago. It's a sports romance series. You meet both of these characters in the first book, which is called Mile High. They are minor characters. So Ryan is the brother of Stevie, who you meet in book one, and Indy is her best friend and coworker. So basically what happens is Indy finds herself no longer in a relationship with a man that she thought she was going to marry. She needs a new place to live. So Stevie says to her brother, have my best friend move in with you. And that is the last thing that he wants. So I would say the relationship becomes sort of a, like, it's a fake dating trope, because Ryan is so, like, by the book. He's so serious. He's so, like, type A. And Indy is just go with the flow, positive, optimistic, bright. She's beautiful. She's really, really smart. And so essentially they decide to fake date each other because his team, his management, I think, feels like it'll be like best for his image. It'll make him seem more relatable to his fans and everything. And slowly but surely a romance forms. And this was so well written. It's such a beautiful display of how love can be shown through actions. There were so many things this man did to show her that he cared about her long before they ever declared that they loved each other. It was just, it's the kind of book that if you're single, it'll make you raise your standards even higher. This was so, so good. I would reread it in a heartbeat. I can't tell you how many times after I finished it, I went back and just reread my favorite parts because it was so good. I think I gave it, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like the easiest 5 stars I've gave this year. The next question on the book tag is favorite main character. I immediately think of Manon from Throne of Glass. Is she a main character, or is Aelin the main? I think Aelin's the main character, right? But in my eyes, Manon is that girl. I hope I'm saying her name right. I feel like there's a ton of ways to say her name. But we first meet Manon in Heir of Fire, I believe. And as soon as she showed up on the pages of that book, I knew she was going to be my favorite character. She's a witch. She's tough as nails. She's beautiful. There's so much to say about her and her story, but I don't want to spoil it for anyone who may be reading that book. But she is just incredible. I'm also going to put like some of the fan art I've seen of her that I think is an accurate description of how she looks. She is fierce. She is amazing. Yeah. I don't really care if she's not considered a main character. She's a main character in my eyes. Manon Blackbeak, forever. Okay, the next question is new favorite author you discovered this year. Hands down, Miss Liz Tom Ford. I'd heard so many things about the Windy City series prior to reading it, so I knew a little bit going in. I knew that everyone sort of had the same opinion of the first book, Mile High, which is just, it's good, but it's not as good as the other, so just get through it and then you can experience what's to come. I definitely agree with that statement. I felt like Mile High was, good, not great, but after you get through Mile High and move on to the other books in the series, it just takes off. And I just love how she writes about romance and various ways that love is shown or expressed, and the couples, like this whole friend group, they are so cool. Like hands down the sort of people that I would want to be around and hang out with in my day-to-day life. Liz Tom Ford is definitely an author that is on the list of whatever they write, I will read. That's where she is for me. Okay, happiest read of the year. I'm sensing a theme here, but my happiest read was the grand finale of the Windy City series by Liz Tom Ford. It's called Rewind It Back. I have it right here. It covers Rio and Hallie's story. The reason why I gave it, I think, 4.5 stars. But the reason why it was the happiest read for me is that we meet and see Rio all throughout the first 4 books. So it was so nice to finally get to know that like lovable guy that you want so badly to find someone, because you've just seen how great he is and how loved he is by everybody else. So it was nice to just get to know him a little bit better, give him his own book and his own love story. It was just a great way to just tie everything up in a nice little bow. It was so bittersweet reading this, because you knew it was the end. You knew it was like the final book in this series. Thank goodness rereads exist, so I can always come back to these people and their stories as often as I want to. But I love Rio. He's so sweet. Longest book you read this year. So I initially thought that the longest book that I had read this year was going to be a part of the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas, which is right up there, the 3rd one anyway. But actually it was Kingdom of Ash. I had to double check that. So the Crescent City series books typically end at like the 800 mark. Kingdom of Ash was just shy of 1,000 pages. So that was the longest book I read this year. One thing to know about Sarah J. Maas is that she's going to write a textbook size fantasy book. I'm not complaining because she's also on the list of authors that whatever they write, I will read. But just know that going in, like you're gonna be there for a while. You're gonna be in that world for a while because the woman writes. It's like this thick. Like this is like one Sarah. These are two books, but like this is like the size of one Sarah J. Maas book. Maybe even a little thicker, to be honest. So that was the final book or longest book I read. The shortest book I read was actually a collection of essays by Michelle Philgate. It's called What My Mother and I Don't Talk About. I gave that book 2.5 stars. It was like 15 different people, I think, and they were just writing about their relationship dynamics with their mother. That book made me appreciate my own mother and the relationship that we have because, if anything, that book just saddened me just to see how so many people out there can't really say the same about the relationships that they have with their parents or the motherly figures in their lives. So it was my shortest. It was about like 280 something pages, which for someone like me who loves like a good fantasy book, that book was short as hell. A book you haven't stopped thinking about is the next question. So for me, that would probably be, it's not, a lot of my books are in storage. That would probably be The Reckoning, which is book 3 in the Zodiac Academy series, simply because it ends on a cliffhanger and I am so eager to get back to it. But because I'm currently doing this massive reading order, I'm reading the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac Academy series right now, I can't get to it and see what happens next until I finish Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac. So that is a book that I want to keep fresh in my mind so that I'm able to just jump back in and not feel like I've forgotten something or missed something or whatever. But yeah, that is a book that has been on my mind lately because I gotta get back to it. I gotta know what happens next. What is your reading goal, reflection, and 2026 goal? So going into 2025, I did not want a book goal. Like I did not want to give myself a set number of books that I had to read. And that was a really good decision on my part because I think I read 28 books in 2024 and I got to 37 books read this year. So I beat the number that I had for myself. Going into 2026, I'm currently going back and forth on whether or not I want to set a number. Should I finish the 2 books that I'm currently in the middle of before December 31st, I will have read 39 books in 2025. So if I did set a number, 40 sounds like a really great place to start, being that I was able to get close to that this year. But I also like just freely reading and not feeling like I have to put pressure on myself, because sometimes these book goals put added pressure, and I don't want to feel pressure to read. I don't want to feel pressure to zip through so many books in a month or at once. And then the final question, what are you prioritizing in 2026 with your reading? I definitely want to diversify the books that I read. I tend to stick to the 3 certain parts of the bookstore: fiction, romance, fantasy. So I'd love to read a thriller. I don't really read thrillers. Maybe something that's gothic and dark. I would love to read something in the horror genre. I've got a few horror books, so I'm definitely open to it. Historical fiction, it's not at the top of my list, but if it's really good, I will give it a try. It's not a genre that I'm just like, no, never. I would never read that. Don't ever recommend me anything historical fiction. I'm open to it. I'm open to it. I would love to diversify my authors and my stories. So by that, I mean, I want to go along with the various months of the year that highlight different people from different cultures and marginalized groups. So in February, I want to read books by more Black authors. March is Women's History Month, so read books by women. When it's Pride Month, read books by authors in the LGBT community, or books with LGBT stories, or books about those in the LGBT community, things like that. I think that's really important. I feel like sometimes I can just only stick with like the same authors, the same stories. So I'd like to just move around more. Okay, now we are moving on to the books that I want to definitely prioritize in 2026. I am determined to get through these. I had a 25 books I want to read in 2025 video. I think I missed it by a landslide, but we're going into the new year, so it's time to like wipe the slate clean. And now I'm just like, I need to read these books. I'm tired of sitting here looking at them, not knowing what they are about. I want to read them in 2026. Starting off with Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. I have his Beartown series, but something tells me to start with a standalone. I don't believe that this is a book in a series, but I really want to get to it because I hear such amazing things about his writing. And the synopsis of this book, it says, looking at real estate isn't usually a life or death situation, but an apartment open house becomes just that when a failed bank robber bursts in and takes a group of 8 strangers hostage. Each of them carries a lifetime of grievances, hurts, secrets, and passions that are ready to boil over. None of them is entirely who they appear to be. In short, they are the worst group of hostages in the world. But as the minutes tick by, they begin to suspect that the criminal mastermind holding them hostage might be more in need of rescuing than they are. As the authorities and the media surround the premises, these reluctant allies will reveal surprising truths about themselves and set in motion a chain of events so unexpected that even they can hardly explain what happens next. Anxious People is an ingeniously constructed story about the enduring power of friendship, forgiveness, and hope, the things that save us even in the most anxious of times. You're telling me you wouldn't read that book? Please. I want to read a book by Carissa Broadbent. So this is her War of Lost Heart series, the indie covers. I've seen the new covers that have since come out this year. That was a choice. I'm just really happy that I got the indie covers. This is a trilogy. I've heard so many great things about this book as well. I've been told that if you are a Throne of Glass person, which I am, this is a trilogy for you. Up next, we have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I know that it's gothic romance. It's heavy as all get out, first of all. I don't remember hardcovers being this heavy, but this is another book that has been on my radar, another author that's been on my radar as well. And I really want to jump into more fantasy books. I feel like I'm still so new to this particular genre. There's still so much to like read. I don't read a lot of books by like male fantasy authors either. I tend to stick with women because there's just so many out there, and there's so many different magic systems and worlds that these authors have created. A book that everyone has been talking about since it first came out at the end of this year, Alchemized by Senyin Liu. I know nothing about this book. I can't tell you how many people I've seen with tears in their eyes when talking about this book. The synopsis of it, let's see. Let's just read it. Once a promising alchemist, Helena Marino is now a prisoner of war and of her own mind. Her resistance, friends, and allies have been brutally murdered, her abilities suppressed, and the world she knew destroyed. In the aftermath of a long war, Palladia's new ruling class of corrupt guild families and depraved necromancers, whose vile undead creatures helped bring about their victory, holds Helena captive. According to resistance records, she was a healer of little importance within their ranks, but Helena has inexplicable memory loss of the months leading up to her capture, making her enemies wonder, is she truly as insignificant as she appears, or are her lost memories hiding some vital piece of the Resistance's final gambit? To uncover the memories buried deep within her mind, Helena is sent to the High Reeve, one of the most powerful and ruthless necromancers in this world. Trapped on his crumbling estate, Helena's fight to protect her lost history and to preserve the last remaining shreds of her former self is just beginning, for her prison and captor have secrets of their own, secrets Helena must unearth, whatever the cost. Whoa. That's a lot. That's a lot, and it doesn't surprise me because this book is, I think this may be the longest book I've read going into the longest book that I want to read in 2026, 1,024 pages. So that beats Kingdom of Mash by about 20 pages, 30 pages. Yeah, she's huge. I feel like the theme of books for me in 2026 are books that will sadden me, books that will wreck my heart, books that will open my eyes, books that will make me think. So that'll be exciting. Also, another book that I'm hoping to read is The Ascended by Greenwich and Lennox. I'm reading a lot of thick books in 2026. Good Lord. Like, I do this to myself, I swear. How many is this? Like 700 something books. That's not as bad as, listen, Alchemize has got it beat by 300, but damn, these people can write. That's a lot. That's a lot. I am excited though. The Ascended is another book that I've heard so many wonderful things about. It is, I believe, so many people say like read the first two that are a part of another series. So something tells me that this is a spin-off of the other two that these authors have written, Greenwich and Lennox. Riftborn. Yeah, it's like Riftborn and Mist something. I'm terrible at this. I really am. But it's another series, or excuse me, I think it's a standalone. But it's another book that I'm hoping to get to in 2026. I think that's it for the books that I most want to get to in 2026. As you can see, most if not all of them are the size of ginormous textbooks, so I have a lot of reading to get through, but that is just so exciting to me. Some books I want to go back to and revisit, like Chloe Walsh and Kayla Edwards books. Some books I want to read for the first time, authors that I want to read for the first time. I really want to shop my TBR, my physical TBR in 2026. Not that I won't visit a bookstore from time to time, because I definitely will. Like, you will never keep me away from a bookstore. But I really want to get through a lot of what I currently own. That is really important to me going into the new year. All right, that is it for my end of year book tag and the books that I want to get to in 2026. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.